Today we're going to talk about how to handle people's leaves. And you're here in my yard. I live just outside of Takoma Park in Silver Spring, and I follow the same kinds of rules that the city of Takoma Park does, which is that I don't use pesticides and I don't use fertilizers except for just regular organic materials from the yard. The thing that we're going to try to replicate here is what a forest looks like. People for the last 50 or 70 years have been treating their yards like they needed to be pristine and single species, just grass, and it can only be grass. But increasingly in Takoma Park and in other places, we're discovering that for a more healthy area to support bees and butterflies and birds, we need to pretend to be a forest. And even a regular old yard can pretend to be a forest. So if we're going to replicate a forest instead of acting like this is just a monoculture, there's a couple different things that we can do. The best thing you can do, and where you can, you should do this. You should, if you've got an area like this that's not planted in grass, that's just got shrubs and trees and ground cover, you can let the leaves, or the needles in this case, you've got a great big pine tree, just sit on the ground and they will decompose. They will add organic matter, which is fertilizer, to the ground, and you end up with a lovely, soft, organic, rich soil. If you have a little bit of grass where those same needles are falling, that's fine unless the needles are a little bit too dense and they completely cover up the grass. So here, as it happens, our 3-year-old grandson has done a little bit of raking already, but you can see here there's a little bit of extra pine needles, and all you got to do, you can leave some down there, but just rake a little bit of it up to where you've got ground cover, and you're done. And you can let the rest of these pine needles decompose onto the grass, and you end up with, again, with fertilizer. The grass is perfectly happy to be treated that way, and you end up with a softer soil and more organics. It's fertile, and more things will grow in it. The other thing you can do with the extra pine needles, if you want, if you have raised beds, if you're growing vegetables, like you can see in the arugula, I've put some pine needles there. It helps to fertilize those plants. There were tomatoes and peppers here, and I've got pine needles there that are going to decompose, and you can basically put them anywhere you want, and it'll help the soil and it'll help the plants. Here we are in the backyard, and you can see even more clearly if you look to my side. This is Sligo Creek Park. It's a very mature forest with a huge canopy of trees, and those trees all lose their leaves in the fall. They're all deciduous trees here. Those leaves fall to the ground, and they stay there, and they decompose, and they provide habitat for all sorts of different kinds of bugs and other beasties, and they're food in the winter for a lot of animals. So here we are right here, and we can extend the forest very easily to over here, and you can see this looks like forest floor. And the main reason it looks like forest floor is because we don't mow it, we don't plant grass on it, we let mostly native plants grow here, and there's some trees and shrubs, and this is habitat for fox and for deer and for all sorts of other beasties. And we've done the same thing as the yard progresses in a more planted area that's by and large natives, but the leaves fall on those plants and they don't smother them. They act just like it was in the forest floor. It's just the leaves will decompose. They fertilize the plants that are living there, and they support other animals. You may remember in the spring when the robins come back and are especially when they're starting to feed their babies, you see them rooting around among the leaves all the time. And that's because there's food there. They don't just do that because it's fun. They do that because they need the kind of food that survives in leaf litter in the wintertime. And that's how they're going to feed their babies. They don't feed their babies nuts or seeds or anything hard. They feed them little bugs and things that are living underground or living right under the leaves, and survive the winter. So that's really the critical point about why to leave the leaves. You don't need, in an area like this, there's no reason to remove those leaves. They pretty much stay put. It looks like a forest. There's nothing wrong with a forest, and they support, in a skinny little park like Sligo, they extend the habitat beyond that to our yards. So there's a little bitty part of this yard that is what you might call lawn. It's actually it's barely grass, but it's multi-species, and I mow it. So I don't want to have it completely full of leaves, so it'll survive, so the sun can get to it. So what you can do here with leaves, and you can see there's not a ton of leaves, but there's enough so you'd want to break them up into littler bits so that the grass can continue to grow. It's a pretty straightforward process. The easiest way to do this is to take your mower and go back and forth, which will suck up the leaves and chop them into bits, kind of like what I'm going to show you with a vacuum blower. So here we go. I mowed this sort of low, and you can see I just made one pass, and you end up with the leaf litter. It's broken down into pretty fine particles, and you just looking at the lawn, it looks very different, and you can see it looks like you can see the grass better, but there's all this organic matter from the leaves that's now in the ground, and because it's small particles, it's going to stay there for through the winter. And you're done. I chopped up leaves last year, similar to the mowing, but I'm about to show you the blower. And I put the leaves in a couple of garbage cans, and I've used them mostly for food composting, and we'll show you that in a little bit. But there's some leaves left, and as you can see here next to me, some of the soil, this is a very shady area, some of the soil has been somewhat exposed. So because I'm about to end up with a new set of chopped leaves, I'm going to take last year's leaves, dump them out, and because they're more shredded, you can spread them out. And they will amend the soil, and they will tend to hold the soil better than just if it was bare. So this way you just you haven't wasted anything. You're using last year's leaves to provide organics to the soil and to make more habitat for little beasties. So then I've got a nice empty bucket, and I'm going to start using this blower, vacuum blower, not as a blower but as a vacuum, to collect. You can see the deck. You can only imagine from this beautiful beech tree, there's about a bazillion leaves that come down every year. And since you don't want them on the deck, we've swept them about 5 times now, and you end up with piles of leaves. And I take some of those leaves and use the vacuum function of this, and the leaves will shred a little as they go in, and they'll be collected in the bag. And then I put the bag shredded leaves here, and I've got this year's leaves, which I then can use for food composting or for putting around in other places. The other thing I said you could use those shredded leaves for, as well as putting them on bare soil, is in food compost. And I know many folks in Takoma get their food compost taken away in a bucket, but not everybody does. And I've been doing food composting of vegetable matter for dozens of years. And here's my galvanized can. And it's about half done. You can see I've got a layer of leaves over it. And all I do, here's my kitchen vegetable waste. So I've dumped that in, and then I grab some of those shredded leaves. This is last year's leaves. And I cover it up. And then I rinse and repeat. So then, after several months, you end up with this, which doesn't look like vegetables at all. It looks like leaves. It's very soft, fluffy, moist organic matter. And for example, I've put it here, well, partly you can see it, but also there's a little hill, and if the stormwater is running down here, it will get stopped and absorbed by this lovely organic matter. So you can use this stuff. You can put it in among your gardens. You can make it a stormwater issue. Anywhere you want organic matter. It's fertilizer. It's very worm and bug friendly. And it's great stuff. And one of the nice things about it is you're not taking it from somebody else's yard. This is just your own. This is the stuff that you eat. There's going to be no weed seeds in it. There's going to just be your own leaves and your own vegetable foods.
The Equity Walk is a project that I've been working on where there are 10 different stations that go around the 3 schools, the community center, the library, where student groups or family groups or individuals can go along, start and stop anywhere, find a station, do an activity, and then, wait for it, here's the exciting part, they scan a QR code that will bring them to a map. Part of the map has prompts for them to discuss equity. We're talking about race, gender, and disability, so that parents and teachers can talk with their students and their kids about issues that are really important today. They can find resources, books, videos, websites to go to learn more so that they can talk about it and learn about it.
Alex and I worked together, so we painted the hopscotch down there with the sunflower, and it had the blocks, and we're going to put numbers in it, so you'll actually run through like a regular hopscotch. And then this is a pose, a yoga pose. So I haven't tried it out, but after it's painted, we'll give it all a whirl.
And we're in time for tomorrow's Crossroads Farmers Market. So we're hoping the children will enjoy it tomorrow. This one is called Tiptoe, and the prompts are about the kinds of things people have a difficult time talking about, the topics they tiptoe around. And it has we have a story map, an online map with prompts for children to think about and talk about with their families. So this one is the snake. We're making it an extra long one with a super loop.
It was pretty quick, actually. It came out yesterday. It was really about 2 hours to lay down the initial design, get everything set up and cleaned up, and then today was pretty quick because we already did it yesterday, and I didn't have as much to do. Just the numbers to finish off the hopscotch here.
Well, we're making it up as we go long. We wanted it bright and cheerful, but we wanted it to change frequently. So I think it's working.
I think it's a great thing for the community. It lights up all the streets. The farmers market's here, so everyone will appreciate it. There's a lot of kids with the farmers market, so they'll get to try it out. Also, when you come out of the grocery store and the shopping over there, there's benches, so all the stencils start there. So there's a little something to look at besides when you take a little break, you can sit there and read about this or or try it out.
You have to tiptoe on this one though. Each color is a different step. So it's partly a game, and then it's also linked to thinking about diversity in the community, how they're the same, how we're different, how we celebrate those differences. So I think kids will enjoy it, and I think they'll get the hang of it pretty quickly. I love it. It has been a bright spot, I think, for all of our staff. In the middle of trying to work remotely and trying to adapt to changing circumstances. But it's been something that we have all been looking forward to and have enjoyed the process of thinking through and putting it together. And a number of us have worked on it. We'll have a map online that goes with it with prompts. We tapped librarians' expertise for literature for children that's age appropriate. So it's been a very inclusive project for us. Today is the first day that we have seen each other and been together as a staff, and so that's been really great for us too.
It's part of Safe Routes to School in that as the Safe Routes coordinator, I applied for a grant with America Walks. And this organization was giving out grants of $1,500. It's called Community Change. And I was looking for a way to use that money to create change in our community. And this all was happening a year ago, before we had COVID, before we had an enhanced Black Lives Matter movement. I looked at a way to incorporate walking and equity, physical activity, and learning.
Well, we have two school-age kids, one who goes to Takoma Park Middle School and one who goes to Piney Branch Elementary School. And so a big thing for all of us right now is being at home doing virtual learning. And the teachers and the staff and the students are all working really hard, but it's kind of absurd. So we thought we should bring that to life with a Halloween costume that highlights the essential elements of virtual learning. We absolutely love Halloween. We love to do a group costume.
First, she just draw something. Then I just like start doing it like random.
I'm a knight. No one in particular. I'm drawing a skull. I just like knights because I think it's interesting. I'm a dragon. Yep. My mask is right here.
So far so good. I mean,
and I really like dragons. I made a huge dragon that's head is right there and it goes all the way over to there. I do dragons and stuff like that. I really like dragons. It's a mermaid. Because I was going to the store and then I found it, so I liked it. So I choose it as my costume. Well, I've been doing chalk drawing on the way to the end of the street. I can't remember. I drawed a booty. I drawed a cat. I can't remember. It's a cat, a pumpkin, and I chose this costume because The Mandalorian just came out yesterday, and because I like Star Wars. I'm a griffin. I just chose this costume because I made these wings a couple of months ago, and we had a good helmet schematic for making that.
I am my dad, and my dad is me, so it's like his name is John, it's his little John, and then his shirt says Big Miles. So I'm gonna draw a werewolf, and I'm gonna draw it because I like dogs a lot, and I thought I would do it because werewolves, when I think about them, like, because it's a human and a dog, you can make their head really tiny and their body really big, so they can have these like kind of goofy in all different ways, where like they can have these huge legs or like be part human in different ways or stuff like that. So you can really like change them up in different ways.
I'm gonna be a scary doctor, like in the movies where doctors are like doing a checkup on people and then they start like turning into a monster and they like devour them and stuff. The name of the costume I forget, and also I chose the costume 3 years ago, so I can't really remember that. So, well, I'm drawing this because I want to, and my brother already started it, and I'm just filling in the poles for the dog to keep it up, and that's what I'm drawing right now. It's Venom. I chose it because I randomly found it and it looked cool, and I like Venom.
I chose this costume because I wanted it to be noticeable. It was kind of hard to make it.
I'm a hockey player, and I lost a lot of teeth, so I thought I should be a hockey player because of my teeth. I'm drawing a skeleton with fire hair. Because I just thought it would be kind of cool to draw a skeleton, and I don't know, I just thought it'd be kind of cool.
So I'm a Bratz doll, and me and my friends were supposed to do it, but they don't like live around here. Yeah, so that was the thing for this.
My name is P. Poppy.
P. Poppy?
Yes. This is Spider-Man. Say hi, Spider-Man. Hey, Spider-Man. This is a Trump costume, and this is a Spider-Man costume from, I love the Trump movies. And this from the Spider-Man movies.
My costume is like a swamp monster thing, and I chose it because like I enjoy zombies and things like that. So I just was looking around on Amazon and I found this. Well, I'm drawing. So right here, there's a fish caught on a fishing line. But I also have a few other Halloween themed things like jack-o'-lanterns for Halloween. This is just for fun.
My favorite candy is probably, I like Laffy Taffies.
That's a hard question. Well, I don't really have one, but like I like Skittles.
My favorite candy is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Mine is Nestle Crunch. It's a beautiful, beautiful candy.
Mine is definitely peanut butter cups, though.
I look at it for a quick few seconds, and then I usually like to put it in the freezer, and then I eat it.
I can't really decide. At the beginning, when I feel like eating candy, Skittles, and then after, I guess it'll be. I can't really decide.
My favorite candy is chocolate. Chocolate? Sour Patch Kids.
My favorite candy, Airheads.
Jolly Ranchers.
I think cotton candy. I'm gonna go with that.
My favorite candy would, I don't really know what my favorite candy is, but, it would be like, I think a Kit Kat.
I have a lot, but off the top of my mind, I'd say M&Ms. I like chocolate, but I don't really know what my favorite candy is.
I'm gonna have to go with Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
My favorite candy is probably Hershey's bar.
Candy.
I'm afraid of going underwater. Wasps.
I think I would be really freaked out if like a witch just appeared. So I'd say like witches scare me a lot.
I honestly don't know.
Nothing, kindly. Nothing.
Probably wolves.
A lot of scary stuff.
Spiders. That's pretty much it because I haven't really been watching horror movies.
Broken dolls.
I'm afraid of the clowns in the sewer. That's what I'm afraid of.
You forgot about the rats. We're former
Yeah.
New York City people, but yeah.
I mostly only scream when there's a jump scare, like something that seems harmless becomes super scary. It is in less than a second. That's really only when I get scared.
I think I had a really bad fear of vampires. Vampires are hunchback. That just scares me.
I say doubles. Double is bad.
The cranks or I forget what the other thing's name was, but cranks and the other thing in Maze Runner.
Out of everything, like, I have one main. If there's a big spider, I will not be near it.
I thought Pennywise was the most scary character.
The most scary character. Maleficent.
Jason and Freddy Krueger. That's the only two I know.
I'm gonna go with. That's so hard.
Character in what?
Oh yeah, Two-Face probably.
I'd say the Grievers or Cranks from Maze Runner.
I'd have to say Pennywise from the It movie, I guess.
Maybe Voldemort. Yeah.
I grew up in the late 70s, early 80s, so it was Jason.
Probably the Gremlins and Gremlins.
I don't know, a lot of the Addams Family characters, like that hand that jumps around from the Addams Family, I think that's really creepy.
The latest movie that I've watched that was horror was I don't remember what it was called, but it was that person that was like a giant spider that ate this girl. Dementors.
Chucky.